So this is my video on the to reflect on my video from my lesson plan, and also to talk about what I would do with those children who are having a hard time understanding the concept, the lesson. So first I'm gonna share my screen of my lesson plan video. So right here, I'm just gonna go in time frames. Just gonna put some time frames because it's a long video, 17 minutes. I did go over. So I'll just go, for example, in this section. On this section, I was talking about filling out the worksheet that the students were doing for the reflection absorption. So on that one, I said to them that they would be splitting up to do partner share, but I did not provide a sentence frame, and I wish I would have provided, if I was teaching the lesson in a classroom, it would be better to provide sentence frames orally or writtenly, so that way the students know what they need to follow when they do their partner share. So for example, I think, or I predict, and then they will talk with their partners following those sentence frames. So if we look at this video. So I should have said that following that they would have to follow the sentence frame just so it could help them. Just a sort of a guide on that one. And then my other, let me jump to the other one, 923. I'm just gonna put it 920. Over 10 minutes, so let's go see So I kind of abruptly said, okay, 10 minutes just passed. I think that what would work, I just thought about it that maybe if I had like a sand time, that one that you kind of turn over, that's 10 minutes. So that way everybody can see, okay, it's almost getting time for the 10-minute mark that we were supposed to leave those Ziploc bags outside under the sun. That was the time frame that we were supposed to leave or experiment. So I think that a timer would have worked best in that situation instead of just me like, oh, choosing a time. Okay, it's been over 10 minutes. I think that way everybody can be like, oh, it's almost time. I don't know. I'm not sure if that would work better. And so I'm gonna jump to 12. Right here, I'll just put it right here. I think I would have provided a better cup. For example, those the ones, the measuring cups that actually has the measuring labels for each table. That way everybody knows what the number says instead of having just a top from the kitchen. I would have something that way it can be labeled already and be prepared. I also have, so let's skip to the 1631. Okay, I'll just put 16. So I did mention that I liked that idea, and thank you to Lisa that caught that. And then, it's not a good idea to be sharing, oh, I like that. I think that I have been kind of engraved in that because of my preschool classroom, my preschool setting. So we're always supposed to be saying, oh, like, I like those walking feet, or I like how you're keeping your hands to yourself, or I like how you're, I like. So I've been using that so much that I'm like, oh, I like that idea. But thank you to Lisa that mentioned that that's you're kind of pleasing the teacher. So it's better to just state facts. That way you can have a growth mindset for the children, or students can have a growth mindset, which is why we're striving to, right? We're not striving for them to please the teacher. So that's something that I really need to work on. Um, and so that's my reflection on my video. Let me stop sharing. So before making the lesson, probably I would have done this lesson, almost by middle or more closer to the end of the school program. It just depends. So that means that I would have known already my children, so my students, I would have known which students struggled, and who needs a little more support, who needs a little bit more guidance. So I would have probably just take out those group of students, maybe when they're in centers and be in a small group. I would have talked to them before we do the lesson, so that way they can get comfortable with the new vocabulary, excuse me, that I'm going to be using. So, for example, absorption and reflection. So I will work with graphic organizers with them beforehand. That way they can, like, for example, this. So for absorption, we would actually have in place physically sponges and water, so that way they do it themselves. So that way they can do the hands-on, and then that way they can come up with what happened after they put the sponge in the water, what happened, and then that way they can come up with their definitions for absorption and then for reflection as well. We would have mirrors, that way they can actually see what's happening. I would want them to be introduced to the vocabulary and then make their own definitions at the beginning, so that way they'd be more comfortable when it comes to the lesson. That way they are able to share with their groups and use the sentence frames that I'll provide with the groups. Also, after the lesson, I will come back with those same groups and then work on the ELD group frame. I will do the ELD group frame, so to see if they are able to, to get some feedback and see where they're at, and if that helped, if what I did first, that helped them. So maybe, that way me knowing who the students that need extra support, and then kind of do this strategy of getting feedback on that. And if based on this, on the ELD group frame, that's where I'm going to see if they need extra support. And then that way I can support them whenever I do a small group, and then I can pull them out while we're doing this, while we are in the centers. That way they don't miss out on anything, or, maybe have other things going on. So that way I can, support everybody in the classroom. So that's what I would do. Thank you so much. Let me stop recording. And yeah, I mean, there's so many things that I could do. It just depends on the students, because every student's different. Every student learns differently. So it just depends. I would have to be really the one to really think, okay, how can I support this child? Finding strategies. So it just depends on what kind of type of students we're talking about, how much support do they need, or in what area they need. Maybe it's not this the absorption and reflection. Maybe it's just not the wordings. Maybe it's something else. Um, so yes, thank you.